Greetings. Welcome to the church of what's happening now. And the church, it's brought to you by Onnit. For all your supplement needs, go to Onnit.com. From Alpha Brain to Shroom Tech Sport to Shroom Tech Immune. These things are tremendous. I love the Hemp Force protein shake, the chocolate. Listen, Alpha Brain, you don't like it, you send it back, you get a 100% money back guarantee. We don't even want the product. That's how much balls we stand behind it. Go to Onnit.com/church and get 10% off right now. This podcast is also brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear, period. And summer is the perfect time to upgrade your underwear drawer. So do me a favor. Go to MeUndies.com right now. I'm going to give you 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/Joey. And I'll tell you what, I got some new bold designs and bright colors. Increase the piece, you dig, and the underwear, the MeUndies underwear of underwear, the OG. Go to MeUndies.com/Joey right now. Kick that mule, Lee. What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? Uncle Joey here with my main Jewish savage, Lee Syatt, and Ari Shaffir is on the phone. We had a great podcast the other night. We had a great response from you people. I had no idea that this was such a topic, you know. I really appreciate Lee talking about it the other night because for the last, since he talked about it, I haven't slept. I've just been thinking about this and reading up on depression. So what I did was I spoke to Lee, and I would double check with Lee if it was okay if we could have Ari called in, who dealt with this. You know, he dealt with this for a while and explain his challenges with it. What do you think, buddy?
I'm excited. I'm excited to. It's been an amazing couple of days, and I can't wait to. I'm excited. I'm excited to take help from people. For so long, I've been just trying to do everything myself. So it's nice to get help.
Listen, nobody ever thinks they need help. We all feel like we got it covered until one day you actually go for help. You know, for a year, we'll fucking keep doing the same. I'm drinking diet soda.
Right.
I didn't eat cheese today until one day you go, you know what, I gained 8 pounds. I'm going to Weight Watchers. Or I'm having the surgery, or I'm doing that. You know, it always takes the end of a rope before you ask for help. You know, so it's naturally. It's natural. And on top of that, mental health issues have such, well, not a stigmata. The last couple of years, it's been more accepted. People understand it more. It's not like when I was growing up, either you were fucking crazy or you weren't. If you went to somebody and said I had suicidal thoughts, they'd punch you in the face 10 times and they'd send you home. You know, nobody really understood those things 50 years ago, 20 years ago. To listening to different people speaking over the years, I could tell that I have a dab of something. I don't know what it is, but who the fuck cares? Get Ari on the phone. Let's get this party started. Yo.
Hey.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. Ari Shaffir's on. What, God? What were you saying, kid?
I said perfect.
Perfect. What'd you have for lunch today?
Nothing. I'm fucking shitting. I had chili yesterday from some diner on the Upper East Side. I can't stop fucking shitting.
What'd you have?
Stomach still sucks. I had some chili.
Why the fuck would you have chili on the Lower East Side? Those fucking savages don't know how to make chili. They're white people.
Upper East Side.
Upper or lower, it don't matter.
No, Upper East Side is Harlemish. There's plenty of diners up there.
Oh, but Spanish people don't make fucking chili, Ari. That's a white thing. You got to find people with cowboy hats and that eat cheddar cheese and raw onions. That's how you make a fucking chili.
It was terrible.
Yeah, fuck that shit. I don't trust the chili out here. Very seldom. I just went somewhere where they had nice chili with the red fucking kidney beans. You go back to your hotel room, you fought up a storm in there. You got to open up the window. The window don't want to open. Anyway, Ari, our fucking little Jewish friend here, the other day we were having a podcast, and we're just talking about different states of mind, and he was talking about at the time, you know, he seems like he has depression, you know, and he shocked the fuck out of me because he's got the girlfriend, the job, the car, he's got the Boston Red Sox yarmulke. You know, for him to be depressed, I don't know what he's got to be depressed about, but I started thinking more and more about it, and it related to your situation when you first told me that you were feeling kind of weird and You had to take medication. I was in shock because you're the most happiest-go-lucky guy I've ever met. What is the intro feelings to depression? I mean, what do you feel at first?
It's like just like everything's a little worse. You ever get like you know those commercials they do for like for the new TVs, and they show the old TV next to the new TV.
Yeah.
And the old TV, the picture is just like, you can tell what it is. It's just like, oh, that looks fine. And you see the new TV, you're like, oh wow, that's HD. That's vibrant. So it's like if life is an HD, and then you go back to an old TV. It's just like everything's a little worse. The Red Sox win a game, instead of going, yes, you go, all right, that's cool. Like, and then the negatives are just in your mind. They just get bigger. Starts that way, and then it gets worse and worse to the point where it's almost like debilitating, where you can't do anything because everything sucks. It got to the point where it was like, you know, it might be a beautiful day out in February. It might be 75 degrees in February. And it's like, oh, I love this weather. You know, it's sunny, it's great. But then get to my car, and it's like, oh, I got to get gas. I don't have gas. It's like, oh, this fucking sucks. I hate getting gas. And instead of just being like a little nothing disruption of your day, it becomes like a major thing in your mind. It's just like a sprain in your mind. You just can't fix. It's nothing to do with like it's kind of misnomer. The idea that saying depression, like you're depressed, it's like should be called something else. Cause it has the same symptoms of just like, you know, when your team loses and you feel down, it has the same symptoms as that, but it stays and never goes away. And then like after a while, you know, 1 or 2 days being depressed, normal depressed, that's fine. You know, you can deal with that. But clinical depression, it just never goes away. Even if the thing gets solved, you know, maybe your sibling or your mom dies, and then you get depressed, and then like you get over that, but the depression stays. Or if you lose your job, that's a good one. It's a lot of times a major thing can throw you into it. So let's say you lose a job, and then you know, you go into a depression, and then you find a better job, a better, you know, like higher paying and something you like doing more. The depression stays. I don't know what it is. So it's not about the job. Job is just what got you hurt in the first place. And then it stays. That's when it starts getting real bad.
Do you feel sad, Ari? I never really feel, I don't know, I feel down, but it's not like I want to cry. I don't feel sad. It's just,
what do you feel?
It's like, I don't know, it's not, it's weird. It's more just like for me, it's more about, I don't feel like I'm good enough. Like that, most of it's just negative stuff about myself. Like I'll start thinking about like something that I started doing is I would realize, like I'd get into the day and I'd start thinking how long it had been since I had like a bad thought. Not like a bad, like I'm gonna go kill myself, but like some days you'd wake up and like the first thought in your head is just like shitty. And then other days it's good. And then like an hour and you're like, oh shit, that was my first bad thought. And it's weird. Like it could be just like for me, it's not really based around things I have to do. It's basically like when I personally can't do. Why don't people like, I don't think anyone likes me. Like, why didn't I have friends in elementary? Like going back to that, like for me, I think it's really related to how my, like, and I don't want to say I had a bad childhood. It's just, I was thinking about it today. It's not like bullying is a really big thing right now. And when you think of bullying, you think of like someone pushing you, someone punching you, and that happens. But it's almost worse when you don't like. I just felt left out as a kid. I don't know. I've always felt, and I don't know why. I always wanted to just be normal. But for whatever reason, I don't know if I'm just nerdy, and then the kids didn't really. Who maybe it's me. Maybe like that's where I would go. It's like maybe there's a reason why they didn't like me. Maybe it was because of this, or maybe it was I said this, and then I think about like like today I was thinking about this thing this kid said to me before an 8th grade trip to an amusement park, which has no bearing on my life at all, but I'll spend hours on it.
Yeah.
So that's really where mine is. I don't know, and that's why people have been so amazing and generous in telling me to go talk to someone, because I haven't had it diagnosed. So maybe the word depression isn't the right word for me. Maybe it's more anxiety, or who knows exactly.
Could be bipolar. It could be like there's lots of, there's maybe anxiety. There's like lots of different things. You end up getting caught in a stigma of like an exact definition or exact title for whatever you're feeling, but a lot of it just falls in the same category. It's kind of like just mental health.
Right.
So it's kind of like when people say drugs. What does drugs do to you? And then you got to be like, well, it can do a lot of things, but you really got to tell them what drug you're talking about. What meth does to you is way different than what weed does to you.
Right, but it's all under drugs, and it's like mental health. Yeah. That's a better word for it, I guess.
Right. So when you worry about too much about, like, is this depression, or is it anxiety, is there bipolar disorder, or is it there's like a bunch of other ones. I'm not familiar with all of them. The main thing is it's like your brain is a muscle, and you can sprain it. And you got to get it set to get back.
How long did you go undiagnosed, Ari, that you were feeling these emotions?
Trying to think. Over a year for sure. Maybe a couple. I remember telling Chandra, we were talking once, and I mentioned that I had thoughts of suicide, but they're just kind of like, I don't consider doing it, but I think about it.
Yeah, I can really, not that like I even considered doing it or thinking about me doing it. Just thinking about the idea of it. That, and then also, as weird as it sounds, and as happy as I am doing what I do, the thought that I could just, I've been in a car and I'd be like, I could just leave right now. I have my wallet, I have my phone, I could just leave. And for whatever reason, those two things would help.
Are you tired, Lee?
Like physically tired?
No.
Yeah.
Tired of it all?
Not at all. I don't like, and that's honestly, that's a weird part about the depression, is part of the thing that I'm just negative about myself. So when I'm getting depressed, I'll be like, I wouldn't even have the balls to commit suicide. Like, as weird as that sounds, it would even get, like, I'd be like, oh, I could never do that. I wouldn't have the balls to jump off something.
No, I understand that.
Now, the reason why I wanted you to call, Ari, was because I know nothing about this topic, and I've read about it for hours and days. I've read about why I do the things I do. You know how I am, Ari. I get high and I think about what made me rob that purse, what made me do this, what made me do that, and I try to find answers for it. But after listening to you two guys for the first minute, and I think I wrote this down when I was writing the beginning of the book, from the age of 16 to 23, maybe, Ari, 22, I didn't want to kill myself, but I didn't want to live either. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to kill myself, but I just wanted to be close to my mom. I was just waiting for a fucking truck to hit me. I was just waiting to rob somebody and then for them to pull a gun out and shoot me. It
just felt easier?
Yeah, that's what it felt like, and over the years I got rid of those feelings. And I don't wake up sad. That's why I never understood. I understood your depression, but not really. You're my brother, so I started talking to you about it, and I know that you went and spoke to somebody, and it helped, and everything changed, and was there a process after you spoke to somebody?
Well, I spoke to a few people. And I was already going to therapy just to, try it, and that's when I spoke to Chandra. She was like, you should bring up those thoughts you're having to the therapist. I was like, think so? And she was like, yeah, 100%. It was okay. So there's some tips they give you. Well, Rogan never could understand it. It's hard for a lot of people to understand. Where it's if you just get up and do some exercise, you'll feel better. But what people don't understand is you can't get up and do exercise. You can't even go to the fridge. You can't even get up to go to the fridge. The idea of going out and going to, putting on a gi and going out, or putting on some running shoes and going running, it's so far past what you're capable of doing. Because it affects you in a way. It's it's just not like you're depressed over a thing. It's just depression all the time. So like, so the people who like would try to help me at first would give me tips like, get some sun, get out and get some direct sunlight in your face for like, every day, 15, 20 minutes directly, like, in a row. Every day. There's other things like when you're in the shower or any time, but I found it easier in the shower, just to say out loud like 5 things you're thankful for, that you're happy about. And there's this philosopher from the early 1900s, Friedrich Nietzsche. And he says that anytime you like say something out loud, it actually solidifies it a lot more in your brain. So if I have like let's say a negative, let's say I don't like whomever. Say just lately, I'm just like, somebody's annoying me. If I don't say it, I can get over it. But then if I say out loud, fucking Pete, it just bothers me. From then on, everything he does is going to bother me. So you go the opposite way with positive things, where if you say like, I think I love this girl. Once you say it out loud, it's like, now you do. There's no going back. If you say some positive things in your life, it's sort of the same thing. It can actually improve your mood. My friend Mike no, it wasn't Mike Kaplan, actually. It was somebody else. He moved to Los Angeles, and he hated it. You know how people get with LA. He hated it. People would ask him, like, it wasn't Mike Kaplan, I forget who it was. People would ask him, like, do you like LA? And he goes, no, I hate it. And they'd ask him why. And he'd tell you the reasons why, and they'd fine, whatever. And then he got so sick of having to tell people the same answers, same reasons why he hated LA, that he was like, I don't want to get in this conversation again. So he just started saying, when people were like, do you like LA? He just found it easier to go, yeah, I like it. Instead of having to like say the same thing over and over again, the smog, and there's no change of seasons, or people are shallow, whatever it was. And then people would ask him, like, well, what do you like about LA? And then he'd say, like, it's sunny. He'd try to think of something. And burritos are everywhere, And then after a while, saying that, he found that he started to like LA. He started to focus on these positive things, just verbally, only as a tactic to avoid having dumb conversation. But it really started affecting his mood. He started actually liking the city. So I'm not saying those things will work. I think you should go see somebody and talk to somebody.
How did you pick the person that you went to go see? Because people have been asking me for a while, and one of my issues is that I have trouble, and then I don't know, maybe there is a reason why, but I can't think of the reason why. I have trouble trusting people. I don't like opening up right away.
Yeah, well, you got to find somebody you like. There's no, if you don't like that person, the first person you go talk to, no harm, no foul. Just go switch. Go find somebody else.
Go for like 1 or 2 times. How long did you get? Because I've never been to a single session.
It's pretty fun, man. It's pretty fun. It's like having a one-way conversation. It's like having a conversation where the person's only interested in what you're saying. That's
weird for me. That goes back to what I was saying as a kid. I don't think there's been a conversation that I don't have, like when Joey holds court or when I see comedians talking, that makes me real uncomfortable. I've always been a quiet person.
Yeah, I know, because a lot of that you're thinking like, I was the same way. A lot of it's like, I'm not interesting, or I'm not. When we had these icebreakers in high school, we used to do this thing. And with somebody saying that, we had everyone had to meet somebody else and then say something interesting about yourself. And I got there late. I was somewhere else. I got there late. I guess they'd given the rundown of what you're supposed to do and say something interesting about yourself. So when I got caught up, the girl who was telling me, like, we have to say something interesting about yourself, I said, I don't really have anything interesting about myself. And she goes, wow, that's what the guy said people are going to say. Like, you weren't here for that part. But he said that's what your natural tendency is, to say, like, my stuff, my life is just not that unique. And she said the guy, the moderator, had said that's just wrong. You can find something interesting. But I get it. When you're around Joey Diaz, it's like tough to like butt in. You don't want to be that guy who's like,
right. And it's weird. Like I obviously don't butt in, but it's like I almost wish I had gone and seen somebody before, like 5 or 6 years ago, because parts of my depression have gotten a little bit, like, just as depression grows, it gets a little bit stronger, but other parts of my personality that were weaker, the shyness and the willingness to talk to people, that was way worse. And maybe I was almost protecting myself in a way. I don't know, like maybe because I always like staying inside by myself. I was never really like the idea of going out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I went to like 2 parties a year. That was it. Like I was never that kind of guy, and maybe I really wanted to be. I felt I wanted to be, but then I wouldn't have fun when I was there. And then, I knew this even as a kid. Is like I felt like I wasn't getting invited places, and that would bum me out. But then I wouldn't call anybody. So thinking about it the last couple days has really got me thinking how important like childhood is. I don't like it. I don't know. For me, it just seems like a lot of it goes back to stuff that I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah, that could be. There's something definitely a therapist can help you get to. They can guide your thoughts.
So is that what they do? They just
help you uncover stuff.
Start a conversation and ask you questions and stuff like that?
Ask you questions. You just talk. It could be innocuous. Like, what did you do today? Okay, that's cool. So, it's like I had a breakfast sandwich. Do you like that? Breakfast sandwiches? Yeah. You get up early and a lot? No, not really. Oh, really? When do you normally get up? And they just start you talking. And then you'll find that you'll end up dealing with stuff that you haven't really dealt with, haven't really said out loud.
Joey even said something to me before the podcast on Monday. He said something over the phone. I forget why we were talking about it. But he's like, you don't like confrontation, and I hate it. I don't, and I feel like that's going to be part of the issue, because there's people in my life right now who, if I go to therapy, there's going to be some issues brought up, like not huge ones, but it's things that I've put aside, like you just push aside in your brain, and you keep dealing with people because you're supposed to, you've known them forever or whatever the reason is, and it's that's a scary part too. It's like I don't want to, because then I've also, and I don't like using this word, but I've become good at lying to people, like just about lying to people, like or did this upset you, or did this make you angry, or did I hurt your feelings? No, everything's, and that's weird. It's depression isn't feeling bad, but like I have, and I think part of it is I have a very thin skin. I've always, and I don't know, like it just gets to me. I don't know what that is.
No.
Ari, how long did you stay talking to somebody until you started seeing or feeling a little better, or the cloud started to go away? How long?
Well, honestly, the therapy itself didn't help me get over the depression. It was pills.
Okay. And what type of pills do they give you?
Type I don't really want to get into, because everyone's mind works a little different.
Okay.
So what works? There's 2 things that can cause depression. It's a lack of norepinephrine, too much norepinephrine, a lack of serotonin, or too much serotonin. So then you need a pill to either, like, let's say you have a lack of serotonin, you need a pill to give you more serotonin. Or if you have too much serotonin, a different pill will like lower the amount of serotonin going into your system. So you have 4 different things, and then you have different pills that can work on those. So let's say you have a lack of serotonin. That's, I think, a common one. There's a few different pills that can like help regulate that, help push that higher, and they're not all going to work. And some of them come with side effects that aren't the best. So you got to regulate, like you got to be with a professional that'll tell you, like, we're going to do this slowly and move up in dosage, and they stay with you in terms of like, what are your side effects? They can range anywhere from boner problems to like weight gain to increased, thoughts of suicide. So
is that with the low serotonin, Ari? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that the result of the low serotonin? The weight gain?
It could be low serotonin. It could be too much serotonin.
Okay.
The general one is low serotonin.
Now, when I was doing blow, is that what I remember? They say when you do coke, you demolish your serotonin. That's why the crash the next morning is so devastating on cocaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same way, or MDMA, because it's like now you've shot a bunch of serotonin into your system, and now it's like your body. I think it's something along those lines,
right?
Yeah, your body's now like, okay, he's making plenty. We don't need to make. And then when the coke or the MDMA is like not producing it, then suddenly you're not getting any. So then you need to it could definitely happen. The day after Molly, people get depressed.
Really depressed, right? That the morning after cocaine, and when you wake up, your world is fucking done, you know?
Yeah, but that's not a long-term thing. So think about it in terms of this. You're playing basketball, you tweak your ankle. It hurts. You either can walk it off, or you're like, I'm done, I got to put ice on this. And then tomorrow you're okay. Now compare that to the brain, so the same sort of thing, where you might just get like, let's say you do coke and you get this depression, and it's okay, tomorrow you'll be okay. It'll be bad today, but tomorrow you'll be okay. But then sometimes your ankle is fully sprained, and it's not going to be okay the next day, or the day after that. Even if you walk on it, it's just not going to get any better, and it's going to heal wrong. It's kind of like that, where it's like this isn't one you can just walk off. So you have to deal with it. You got to go in and deal with it. So therapy can help for sure. And a lot of those therapists will recommend pills. Other times they'll say, no, it's not necessary. I'll tell you what people are scared of, and I'll tell you what it sounds like Lee is scared of. That it won't work, or that you'll get the wrong guy. I know Nick Youssef was scared that he'd become like a zombie if he got on the pills. But here's the great thing. You can just go back to the way it was. You don't have to keep saying somebody you hate. And if the pills that you get, have side effects that you don't like, you can just go back off. You just tell your therapist, like, hey, I don't like this. I want to go off. And he'll help you wean off. He'll tell you the right way to do it. No one's going to force you to stay on anything. If you don't deal with stuff, it comes up.
Absolutely. Well, I have a kind of a odd question. When you were, because I know from just hearing you on podcasts and just talking, you used to play poker a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Was that during your depression, or when was that?
No, I started playing poker before that.
Okay, and I was just wondering because I've been going through a 6 months to a year. I'm not going broke. I don't bet the rent, but I probably play a little bit more blackjack than I should. And I was thinking maybe I'm chasing the happiness when you win. I don't know. I was just thinking the other.
I mean, it could be. I've known someone who was close to they had a gambling addiction, and then found out later that they had depression at the same time. And then it was like they just stayed home all day and play online poker and just like blackjack and just like try to fill the void. I'm not really sure if it was like the rush you get from winning kind of stops that negative feeling or what, but I could definitely see it coming up.
Yeah,
but that's not why I started playing, but I could, it's like kind of like drinking. You don't necessarily start drinking to cover up depression, but man, once you're already drinking, it does cover it up in the short term anyway.
And now, how long did you stay on the medication before you abandoned ship on it?
Are you drinking, Lee?
Am I drinking? No. I really don't drink. My issue is the food. That's what my issue is.
Okay. Yeah, I just have an issue. Drinking, just so you know, is a short-term relief from depression, and long-term, it makes it worse. So it's fine that you're not on that.
How about the reefer?
Reefer, short-term relief, long-term, no effects either way.
Okay, that's good.
I thought about that. Yeah, I thought about that. I asked my doctor, the guy who's like really good, about that, because I was like, I don't want to give up the reefer, but what if it's that? I didn't want to face it. And finally I was like, hey, man, just so you know, I smoke a lot of pot. And he was like, no, the studies have shown that's not an issue.
I thought it would be because of the thoughts you get. Sometimes when you get too high, you're by yourself. maybe you do an edible, maybe your mind might go in the wrong place. For years, with the acid, when people have a bad trip, that's what it is. They took the acid in a bad state of mind.
Yeah.
And it took them somewhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Acid never. I was sad, but like I don't know. Whenever I come here, I never really had that issue, and acid never really gave me those thoughts. I do sometimes on weed. We talked about it last. That just sometimes when I'm alone, they come in, but they tend to go away a little bit just because you're stoned, so your brain kind of wanders. So I guess that helps a little bit. It can be a little bit more intense for a second, just because you're like focusing on it, but then it goes away quicker, I think.
Well, I know there was one part.
The studies have shown the reefer is not an issue with that.
Okay. Because somebody told Lee on Twitter, get off the reefer, and I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? Last question, Ari.
You got to think, like, is this a possibility? But then really you should defer to medical science and not like, it seems like there's really no basis in reality. But I'll tell you something. Like, so I was on them for a few years. Eventually my doctor was like, the problem, like, it's kind of like a cast. So, like, what you're covering up might be fixed now, but you don't really know until you take the cast off. So after a few years, we talked about it, and then it was like, all right, let's start slowly going off this. Keep me updated, keep the people in your life updated. That way, if you start like getting real erratic, they can be like, hold on, man, you're acting weird. And then you call your doctor and be like, hey, my friend told me I'm acting weird. As I'm lowering this, and he'll probably tell you, okay, get back on the regular dosage, and let's talk in 2 weeks.
Let me ask you this: when you showed your asshole on Punch Drunk, did you consider calling the fucking vet and telling them you fucked up again?
No. So listen, Lee, it's a thing you got to deal with. It's just going to stay. You're just going to cover it up, like my apartment when it's all fucking messy.
Right.
Like, you just add layers to it, and then it comes out. I was fucking watching 9 Inch Nails 2 days ago, and he started playing Hurt. And then it was like, I had a friend that committed suicide and just never dealt with it. I just started fucking crying in front of my friends. You got to deal with this stuff.
What did the medicine do for you? Like, how do you feel when the medicine is working?
You don't feel it when the medicine's working. It's like it's like you just don't. It doesn't give you elation. The one I did doesn't give you like elation or anything. You can feel it's just back to where you were, where you're like, the good days are good, bad days are bad.
But it's not lingering.
If your character gets killed off on a show, that'll feel bad, but it won't stay there for 3 weeks. It'll stay there for 1 day.
Okay, and then
and when your team wins, you can fucking celebrate fully. When your team loses, you can fucking, be in misery for a day, but just for a little bit. It doesn't dampen everything. If you get on a pill that does that, you need to get on another pill. There's plenty out there.
What's the motivation for getting off of it? Like, just me, if something helped me, I would be like, oh, I want to stay on this. It's working.
Mm-hmm. After a while, I noticed I hadn't been in love for a few years. I didn't know if it was that or not. I was in no rush. At some point, the doctor was like, you could maybe think about getting off this if you want. I'm like, nah, I don't need to yet. I don't want to risk it. And then I started thinking maybe I wasn't having highs because of it. So I was like, maybe it's time to think about going off. Also, it's just, $50 a month less than I was spending or whatever it was. That wasn't the main issue, but I was like, why not? Why have to take everything every morning to forget something when you're on the road? I had to go to a pharmacy in Canada and try to get it. Just be a little easier not being on there. Not much, but a little. So I was like, maybe it's time.
While you were on the medication, with any side effects? Did you feel?
Different ones. When I was on Wellbutrin, I couldn't come. I didn't know that was even a side effect until it was happening, and then I looked them up, and I was like, oh, that is a side effect. So it wasn't even psychosomatic. Another one, you could be expected to gain 15% of your body weight. Jeez. So I did that. But that one didn't even really work. So I went back off it and lost the weight back. There are side effects, there's side effects to all these, and it hits everyone a little differently. So that's why you got to be with a medical professional who's like guiding you through it. So there's the two types of therapists: the types that prescribe stuff and the types that talk to you. You should try the kind that just talks to you first, and then if you don't really make progress after a few months, then start thinking about pills or whatever they say. Follow what they say.
How do you feel now that you?
I can tell you the guy that Rogan sent me to. It's $100. It was anyway $180 a visit. So it's a little expensive, and they don't take insurance. The ones that insurance takes, I'll tell you now, they're not as good.
Okay.
I had a lady tell me like, well, I don't know what else to tell you, and I was just accepted. I was like, all right, I'll just work up the courage and eventually kill myself. She was bad at her job. So you find someone who's good at their job and someone else who you mesh with.
The one for 180.
Some guys want massages from a lady, and some guys want massages from a man, and vice versa.
The one for 180, you were going every week, Ari?
Which one?
The one for 180, you were going every week?
No, not every week. It was less than that. Maybe every 2 weeks. Maybe every week to start, and then every 2 weeks, every month. He wasn't looking to shake me down. It wasn't like that. It was like an honest car repair place where they're like, hey, just so you know, this is going to need to be fixed. Not yet, but probably in the next 10,000 miles. This guy was kind of like that, where he was just like, you can start coming less. You start doing better, and then he was like, by the end, he was like, come one more time 6 months from now. Let's just check in again. So he's not looking to shake you down for money. He's got plenty of clients.
You still keep in touch with him?
He was great at his job.
Do you still keep in touch with him from time to time?
No, but if I had a problem, I would call him immediately.
Do you have like someone you talk to now, or any medicine you take every time if something bad happens, or are you just totally off everything?
I'm off everything. So yeah, if something bad happens, if it's like a day or two, I'm like, whatever. But after a couple of days, I start looking at it and go, let me see if this stays. Like, I'm conscious of it. The other problems become, you get this weird thing where you start like feeling like your depression is part of your family, and you don't want it to go away because it's part of who you are.
Weird. It's not that I don't want it to go away. Part of it is scary. Because who knows? Maybe I'm using it as an excuse now for certain things, like maybe because when you were talking about like, oh, you can't go out, I wouldn't feel like, oh, I can't go out and do this, but I would just find myself for like 3-4 hours after I'd get up, just not wanting to get out of bed. Like I'd get on my phone for a second, then I'd turn over and try to sleep, but then I couldn't sleep, and like it just.
I'll tell you something else, man. That phone is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't like to preach on it too much. It comes up. I don't like to preach, but I'll tell you, I've seen studies that there's some stuff that it does. It makes you unable to sleep. Staring at the screen physically makes you unable to sleep. It takes something away from your eyeballs, some sort of coating. That if you get up in the middle of the night and just look at it for 30 minutes, you can't just fall right back asleep. It makes you stay awake, kind of like when you play video games for 30 straight hours. Staring at those screens does something to you, and you're right next to it. But also it fills you with like a desire to be connected to this thing.
Yeah, it's
consider like not getting on that phone while you're in bed.
Okay.
Not getting on it at all until you're outside.
That could work.
Make yourself get outside, then check it.
And it's hard for me because I'm a tech guy. I was never a sports guy, so all this stuff is stuff that I've always found comfort in. Movies, TV, computers when they came out. I always enjoyed them. So I guess maybe it's a safety. Like I feel like that's what we've been talking about. It like Joey and I said, like safety, and then he even mentioned it on Mondays, just idle hands, never really. And so like that's why I'm excited about talking to someone, so that maybe I could get. And I like that idea. Maybe keep the phone, because Joey, you do that too, right? You keep the phone out of your bedroom. You keep it in
I don't keep it in the bedroom. I don't take it into the gym. I do not do a lot of things with that phone. I give my mind a break on purpose.
Gotta.
You know, I see these things on Twitter, 5 ways to get less addicted to your phone. Listen, I don't do shit on this fucking phone. It really doesn't mean nothing to me. I got Twitter and Hotmail. Those are the most important things to me on this phone. I don't Uber. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to do anything. When the Lyft guy picks me up, he does it for me. I call him on the personal side, and he picks me up and he throws the numbers in there for me. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't look shit up on my computer. You know, I don't Google shit. None of that. None of that. I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know how to do it. Like, if you asked me, was it a Chinese restaurant? I wouldn't know how to fucking do it. I don't like my phone as much as most people. I have it just because I have a new thing in there to write. But besides that, I don't. You know, Ari, I watched, you do kind of a 360, but I never, when you were starting to get the depression, I was on the road with you with Rogan. We were, and I wouldn't see it, The erratic behavior, I just thought you were fucking crazy. So who am I to judge you?
I am.
So when you took this trip to this last year, wherever the fuck you went, you were drug free and just riding on yourself. That's why you were probably having. I'm putting all these pieces together right now, Ari. Like I'm putting.
Well, I mean, there's things that go into making me feel negative, and a lot of that is that phone. A lot of it's responsibility, having to be places. I mean, I was pretty happy when I got back because I was free from any responsibility. Plus the sun and the fun, but like nobody was counting on me for anything. That shit gets annoying, so you gotta take breaks from that too.
But is it like when you went on that trip, I was jealous. I was very like, that's something that I would always. That seems very cool to me. That seems very fun. But like when I'm like, oh yeah, it would be fun to not have any responsibilities. I'm like, oh, like then I get negative about like just that thought. Like maybe why shouldn't everyone else works every day? Like why do I need this break? Like why? Like I don't know. Like it just. I got negative about that.
I think everybody needs that break.
You think everyone needs a break?
Everybody needs a break. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Where America has less vacation time than any other country in the world.
I was listening, Ari, to your podcast. I think it was 2 weeks ago with the Traveler, and you were talking about the leap year, and that's I remember this feeling when I was graduating high school. Like I've always wanted to be an adult, and just be working, but I never really had. It was just like the idea of being an adult. So I remember, like I left school early. I took summer classes so I could graduate a semester early and just start working. And listening to what you guys were saying makes me like, I wonder maybe if I should have just taken. And I thought I liked what I was doing in editing and stuff like that, but maybe I should have taken a year off, and maybe I would have found I should have been a chef in France. Like I don't know. Like it's a weird.
Well, how old are you, Lee?
29.
Yeah. I don't think there's like I'm supposed to be anything, but there is that point in your life, maybe it's right around then, where it's like, am I doing the right thing? I don't think the leap year it comes to like help you find what you're supposed to be in life. I think there is nothing you're supposed to be. You just do. But I think it just gives you relief. Like those summer breaks we used to get in high school and college, they were great. They were 2 months off, and then you can go back into your fucking regular life refreshed. And then afterwards, you don't get that shit anymore. And it's just like it just builds and builds and builds. So you're like, I need a fucking break. I need a break. You got to see somebody, man. You got to see a therapist.
Oh,
they're not bad. They're pretty fun. You'll start to like it pretty soon. You probably won't like your first guy, no matter who it is, just because it's like your first one. But you can just start it. Do you have insurance or no?
Oh yeah, I have insurance, and I have actually some people reached out, and we're gonna look into my plan and see what I had available. So I'm definitely gonna do it. I mean, do you have any recommendations for things to look for or things to ask when you're looking for a therapist?
No. I mean, I always thought I needed a woman at first my friend Pete was like, he could only open up to women. He has trouble opening up to men. And then I got a man. I was like, oh no, this is actually easier for me to open up to him. But I didn't know that going in. It's kind of like, and then it might not be gender based. You might need somebody younger or somebody older. And also, your friends themselves aren't like the same thing, you know? Like, Diaz is fucking 75, and you know, somebody, no, I'm joking, nobody laughed.
No, I tell them the same, listen, you're preaching to the choir.
You know?
I tell him all the time just to go to jiu-jitsu because he could talk to kids that are 29 and 28. He spends his time with me and Steve Simone. That's not healthy. That's not healthy with two fucking morons. And then he sees runners easy. So everybody's 20 years ahead of him. You know, he has his girlfriend who's maybe his age. And I've told him 1,000 times to go to a simple jiu-jitsu school. You know, I see that where I go, Alberto Crane, there's 5 or 6 guys that are in their 20s. They do everything together. They love each other. They drink. They go to parties. You know, I envy them. I don't have the time. So I've told Lee for fucking 3 years, Lee, you can't keep hanging out with me and Simone and your wife. You have to get out of that circle.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be jiu-jitsu, but it's something social.
Something social, absolutely. You know, when you go to 24-hour fitness, you don't talk to nobody in North Hollywood.
No. But if you volunteer at a soup kitchen, or if you fucking get like not even a Big Brother thing, but just join a club of some kind, and then like a trivia night, or anything, man, a softball league, it's just like it will make friends that way. And everyone else has a job, an office they go to, and there's like 30 other people in the office, and you make your best 5 friends you like there the most, and you know, that's just who you mesh with. But then you get stuck in a life like we have, and you don't see anybody. You don't meet any new people, and it becomes kind of weird. So that's not a bad idea. It's just go out and like meet people from hell. Put yourself in a position where you will meet them. You can't be, you know.
I mean, I got to tell you, brother, I would not have to listen to you and Lee and the podcast the other night. I've had bouts with it. Last night, I went to the Comedy Store. I had 2 spots. I was at the Comedy Store from 10 to 9, and I left at 20 to 12. Ari, do you know I had a great fucking time?
Yeah.
With Ron White and talking to, you know, Dean Delray and Kevin Nealon. 3 months ago, did you talk to me? I didn't want to go to the fucking Comedy Store.
No, you didn't.
Those are parts of, we all suffer from something. You know, I think it's time for, I hired a hypnotherapist when I was having problems with my breathing, and I would go to her, and I got to tell you something, those 10 sessions, I felt a lot better, just because I had somebody to rap that was neutral. Because, like you said, Ari, we have 1,000 friends. The shit we got, they're not going to figure out. They're going to brush it off. It's like Rogan didn't understand it. I don't understand depression sometimes.
Yeah,
I feel horrible because I call Lee at 6 in the morning. You know me, Ari. And I'll tell him, get out there, cocksucker. Go get some sun. Go for a walk. And now I feel bad because you said that there's times that you see that. But that seems like a fucking hike up a mountain to you. Just to go outside and get air, to walk to the refrigerator. So I have to apologize because I didn't know where I was coming from.
For me, I appreciate it. Like, it's, you were on me when I was 300 pounds to go work out, and it's weird. Like, I don't know. I haven't had like huge, it's always just been there. So it's not like, sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better, but I haven't had like I'm not getting out of bed for weeks at a time. I haven't been at that level. So like, when I started working out, it was essentially just because you kept asking me, and I hated saying I wasn't doing it. So then like I started doing, and I would just do it, and I don't do it. The issue is like there's sticking with it. Is like I would go out for a day and be in the sun. I did it like 2 days last week, but then I get busy, and I started thinking, oh, I need to do this for this person, or oh, I'm supposed to do this, and then it goes away, and then the depression comes back. So like part of it is I need to be better about doing it every day, doing whatever I do for it every day.
How do you feel today, Ari?
Today, I feel, honestly, I stayed in bed too long, looking at my computer, answering emails, and I didn't get out and get to the sun. Now it's raining, so I kind of missed it. So, but once I get outside, I'll feel better. Once I get out among people, I'll feel better. I know by now that's what happens.
Where's your head at today? Where's your head at
yesterday
today?
felt great.
Like, where's your head at just in general? Do you feel anything? I mean...
I feel great. In general, everything's fine. Yeah, I'm having a good time. In my head, I'm okay now.
Now, in closing, is there any advice you could give somebody that's going through... I mean, Ari, we just had fucking one of the biggest musicians just one night hang himself.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking hang himself, okay? I can't stop listening to the guy since he hung himself. And then 2 weeks ago, the other guy from Lincoln Park hangs himself. You know, there's people that have their stupid theories. Listen, something is not right there.
Yeah.
Something was not right with Cornell for him to do this. And I got to be honest with you. In what we do, you know, we're comics. We could lose our minds the same way, Ari. We're all going to fucking die. But I would hate to die in that situation. I mean, nobody's here forever. But what would force you, you know, to sell out a fucking club, have a great show, you have wife or kids at home, you got money in the bank, you got publishing, he was in 3 different bands, and one night after a show in fucking Detroit of all places, he hangs himself. That scared the shit out of me.
It's just jerking off, but...
You what?
A lot of people say that it was just jerking off.
Oh, like the guy from In Excess?
Yeah, and the guy from the karate guy.
Carradine?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying now?
Yeah, because it's like no note, and also like he hung himself from a doorknob. It's just like, it's a weird, why not a beam? You know, it's like, why that way?
People
let me read you a poem. Because this is how people don't understand depression and what it looks like. People are successful, so you can never get it. It's called Richard Corey. I just looked it up. Whenever Richard Corey went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from soul to crown, clean-favored, imperially slim. He was always quietly arrayed, and he was always human when he talked. But still, he fluttered pulses when he said, "Good morning," and he glittered when he walked. And he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought he was everything, to make us wish that we were in his place. So on we worked, and waited for the light, and went without meat, and cursed the bread. And Richard Corey, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. You know, things aren't what they seem. You get some weird stuff in your head. You gotta figure it out. It's not about how you're doing and how good your job is and how good your friends are. It's about something else. So those are things you should do right now. Get some sun every day. Try to say those 5 positive things every day in the shower.
Yeah, Steve Simone, he ends his podcast doing that. And when we first started, it was hard for me. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what I would pick small things. And he would pick really big, I always felt like my list wasn't as good as his, but it that has helped. It's been a interesting, I don't know what you call it, study or.
Yeah, do those every day, and then start. Call your insurance provider today. You should do it today, and get yourself a therapist. And the one you talk to will tell you if you need a different one. Just get started. It might be boring at first, but even with this shitty SAG insurance, I got 10 free visits, or copay visits, like $20 a pop or something, for fucking Obamacare. I made them drop it all for everybody on Plan B, but you get some visits. So like, use them. Like, get in there now. Like, make the call after you get off the phone with me.
Brother,
get someone who can help you, like, fix what's in your brain, because you want to get back to a place that's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's thank you, Ari. I'm definitely gonna call, and I don't know why I've been so hesitant to try it.
And there's a lot of reasons. There's stigma. Like, I don't want to be the guy who has to go to a therapist, but everybody's on it now. Everybody goes, especially in LA. There's no stigma there. Or also, like, I want to be able to do it for myself. That's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You know, it's just like, just get it done. None of that matters. You call the fire department when you have a fire. You don't got to put it out yourself.
Brother,
You know?
this has been as educational as can be. The last 2 days after listening to that podcast and seeing the comments and what's been going on, I didn't know this was this big of an issue. And if I've said something negative in the podcast or any time, I apologize for everybody who's going through this. My brother, we'll talk tomorrow. I'm happy you called up. And what concert you going to tonight?
Fish.
Look at you bad motherfucker, you. Where you going to see him at?
Madison Square Garden with Fenoya.
Oh, my God. Well, listen, brother, have a great time. I'm happy you shared with the church family, and I'm sure they'll take care of whatever the fuck they got to take care of, especially this little fucking Jew over here next to me that I love with all my heart. I love you.
Yeah, it's just like you have people that care about you, and like you can make yourself feel better. Just take a few steps. You gotta pick up the phone.
As much as I've talked about how I didn't feel like I had that support in the past couple days has been amazing. There's been a lot of people reaching out, from people listening to the podcast and comedians and people that I've done work with. So it's been that's kind of nice. I focus a lot on stuff that happened in the past, and I don't really look at what's going on now. So it's nice when you reach out and people are like, oh yeah, that's actually, we were here for you. So it's been a very nice couple days.
Yeah, I'll leave you one other tip that I got from a Buddhist fucking monastery somewhere in Myanmar. This guy was trying to explain Buddhism to me, and he said the Buddha says that all human suffering comes from living in the past to the future. And if you live in the present, you won't have that. I didn't understand what that means. And he said, okay. He goes, what country are you? I was like, America. And he goes, okay. It was broken English. And he was like, how many friends do you have? And I was like, I don't know, 60, 50, 40, I don't know. Depends what you said. That's 40. Let's say 40. And he was like, no, you're not listening to me. All suffering comes from living in the past to the future. And he goes, what country are you? And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, Myanmar. He's like, yeah. He goes, how many friends do you have? I'm like, one. You. So, I don't know, some of the worrying that comes from like, what am I going to do with my life, or what have I done in the past? It's like, doesn't matter. You're here right now, wherever you are. You're with your friend Joey. Things are pretty good. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to plan stuff, but it's hard to do. But if you can live in the present, it helps you a little too.
No, I think that would be my big goal. Yeah, that would be my goal, to talk to someone. I think that's my biggest problem, even without depression, even like keep leaving the depression aside. So that's
just not Lee. I'm talking for everybody who listens to this podcast who's feeling a little weird, man. That's it. We've opened up an animal here, and I'm happy that we did. I love you, buddy.
All right, love you too.
Thank you for the call. Thank you for opening up, man.
Yeah, talk to you later.
All right. Yeah, interesting as shit. I know in the 5 years I've been doing the podcast, I've never understood depression. So when Lee came up with this the other night, it blew me out of the fucking water. I mean, I basically didn't sleep that night because I didn't see it. And I always take pride in at least noticing something or seeing things, you know. I do notice, you know, now that we've all put it out in the open, when pain, all that shit affects it affects us in a lot of ways, you know, later on. Like when I came out here, I had that fast weight gain, you know. When I got here in 97, right like a year later, I had this weight gain. I kept getting letters from my ex-wife telling me to sign my daughter's rights over. And the pain of that made me feed the fucking hole, you know. I mean, pain, it all works a certain way, you know. I see little things with you now, that why we have the procrastination issues, you know. I gave you a sheet of paper Monday. Yesterday, you got to go on there and signed up for this. You know, you always put things in front of the most important things. And you cannot do that in your life. And I've told you 1,000 times. It's like you went to Einstein, the next day you didn't go because you had to pick up business cards. You don't need business cards. At all. At all. You gave away one business card since that day.
Right.
They're sitting there getting dust. But you've always put those things in. You don't do it when it comes to the work, which is here. So it has nothing to do with me. You know, I was doing projects with other people that you go to their house and they're not doing the project you did with them. They're doing something else and they're complaining. You don't do that. You take it, you do it to yourself.
100%.
100%, you know.
I'll always put myself last, which is the weight gain, which is not exercising, which is not going. I didn't go to the dentist for like 5 years. It just, I don't know.
Listen, I did all these same things. And when I went up to 418 pounds, it wasn't because I was going to the gym every day. It wasn't because I was eating right. It was because there was parts of me that I didn't know where my life was going. I didn't give a fuck. And then something weird happened on the way to the dance. I fell in love. I realized that the person I was with wasn't just some fucking chick that I had been with before. This was a woman who actually cared about me, and if something would happen to me, it would fucking kill her. She's that type of person because she was involved in it, you know. And
right.
There's days I call you and I'll say different things to you on the phone, and they're not hurtful. I'm just trying to fucking get the fuck out of the goddamn house because this is a gift that nobody could give you. I wasn't born with it. When I realized that the world didn't owe me nothing is when I put it into gear. I know I say a lot of things that you get off the phone and go, what the fuck? Doesn't this guy want to live? Doesn't this guy want to do things? You know, I'm 54 and I know what was important for me and I know where I wasted my time. And nothing bothers me more than the wasted time I did in my life. Nothing. There's nothing that bothers me. Do me a favor. Give these shout-outs while I have to go take a little pee-pee poop here. Sure. I drank some fucking green tea before I came.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's emailed or Twittered or everyone. It's been an amazing couple days. Mr. Lalingus, Bob Lalingus, thank you so much. Bud King, Perdeep 007, Mark Non-Smoking Narc, Corey Smelly, Brian Howard, Couchy 1121, Sleed Bell, Jerry Brown, and Michael Cesaroni. Thank you so much. Ookie Spooky has been out there. D'Agostino has been out there. Josh Wolf has been out there helping me. Theo Vaughn's been very nice. Just everybody. I just want to say thank you and shout out to the church family.
All right. He gave you little shout-outs. Plus, I also need a big favor from you guys tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is August 3rd. And on TBS tomorrow night, a guest that was on the show, Greg Garcia, his show premieres. What's the name of the show?
It's called The Guest Book on TBS. It's great. It's August 3rd. I believe it's 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. It's on TBS. It's a hysterical show. And the best part about it, every week it's going to be different. It's an amazing show. Please go watch it.
Please go watch it. Now, I want to talk to you about something before we get the fuck out of here. And you're going to figure out, I'm a pretty fucking boring guy. Lee will tell you I'm as boring as they come. If you ever look at my Facebook and Twitter feeds, they're basically the same shit every day. But the thing that I put on there the most that I want you people to notice, it's a beautiful fucking day to be alive. I put that up there every day. In my journal, when I wake up every morning, that's the first line. The first line in my journal is Wednesday, August 2nd. 2017. It's a beautiful motherfucking day to be alive. God gave me another chance to live. Why do you think I write those dumb things every day? It's a beautiful day to be alive. Because I'm telling myself. From 6 to 10, I'm not a regular person. From 6 to 10, I'm trying to let me know. Because for years, I woke up saying it was going to be a shitty day. For 30 fucking years, I woke up saying it was going to be a shitty fucking day. For the last 15 years, every time I wake up and I say it's a beautiful fucking day to be alive, and I tell you, I love telling somebody on the street when I'm stoned to the gills and I'm going to do something and they go, good morning. And I look at them and I go, it's a beautiful day to be alive. And they just look at me. That is the dumbest sentence that could ever come out of my mouth, people. But I put that on Twitter every fucking day for a fucking reason. To remind me how fucking much of a beautiful day it is to be alive. You know, I have a joke on stage now. Listen, guys, as dumb as this sounds, I don't smoke pot because I want to be cool. I'm going to tell you motherfuckers right now, I never gave a fuck about none of that shit. You either like me or you didn't. I smoke pot because I really needed it. When I get up in the morning, I'm just like you, Lee. My first 10 steps, 20 steps are scratching schedules, telling myself I'm going to cancel the spot at the store because I'm just going to bomb. I'm going to cancel this audition because I'm not going to get it. You know what? I'm going to talk to my wife about maybe moving out because we're not getting... I get all those thoughts. I go in, I drink coffee, and I get a blank piece of paper. I do this every day the last maybe 14 years. Do you want to talk about why my life has changed?
Absolutely.
Because that was the secret. There was a book years ago called The Warrior's Way or the Artist's Way, and all these fucking Gentiles went crazy over it. But it's like everything else. They read it, they did the exercises for 2 weeks, then they moved on with their life. I've been doing that. I have notebooks upon notebooks in a box in my closet from 1998, where I decided one day, instead of writing my comedy sets out, no more comedy. I don't give a fuck about comedy. I do comedy every night. Is to wake up in the morning and dump on that paper. There is not a thing that I don't write out. If I have a problem with somebody, when Caparulo did the second podcast and people were calling me up at my house, and after the things he was saying, I didn't call him. I didn't take it to Twitter. I went in a notebook and I wrote the situation out, and the situation disappeared out of my mind.
From everything that I'm hearing from Ari, like, it seems like you've figured out ways to make yourself better almost, I guess.
Every day your job as a human being is to be a little better than the day before. What does that mean? That if you woke up and you're 700 fucking pounds and you said enough of this fucking lifestyle, today I'm going to walk 3 steps and I'm going to clean my ass myself. Tomorrow I'm going to walk 4 steps. Ever since I started living that lifestyle, and listen, guys, I could sit here and tell you, I've been living this lifestyle since maybe I was 40. I'm not going to lie to nobody and tell you I invented this. But what happens when you're 40? I let it go that far. I was that frustrated between the addiction, the criminology, the fucking eating bad. And there's a point where, you ever been at a point, Lee, where you're eating that 6 slice of pizza and you know it's bad for you?
You talked about wanting to go get the Coke. I know it's bad. I think I just like going. I think maybe because I like thinking about the food. Because as soon as you start biting, you're like, this doesn't even taste like. Even when I was still going to fast food, the first fast food to go was Taco Bell, because I just had like 3 bad. Like I was throwing half the food away, even when I was stoned. That's how I knew it was terrible.
I guarantee that if you start talking to somebody and you take this seriously,
yeah,
I guarantee that you'll lose 80 pounds off the bat, because this is all connected.
Yeah.
I think this is all connected, because you're telling me, I mean, you do one thing twice and it's all over. Whether it's crepes, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's, the kettlebells you stuck strong with because they liked you and you liked them and you trusted them.
Yeah,
You trusted them. After that, you don't trust nobody. The confrontation thing. I was not saying nothing bad.
No, I know. It's completely true.
Jiu-jitsu, karate, judo, there's a point in all those things where they're going to make you go a little liver. Just so if you're ever on the street, you don't go into shock.
Right.
Okay? You don't go into shock. Why take self-defense if you don't know how to eliminate shock from your body? That's something I didn't know. Shock from your mind. When something happens, and something happens real fast, and here you are on the floor bleeding from your lip, does your head spin out, or do you go back to centralizing yourself and breathing just to observe the situation? It's your breath that's out of control. If you control your breath, you control the situation.
Okay. I don't I don't know if I have a problem with breath, but maybe it would help. Maybe just working on that technique would slow my brain down.
You know, I noticed how we've had 20,000 people come in here that specialize in different types of things, whether it's kettlebells, and you've looked into it, but then your mind hasn't let you take the step.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time that this is all connected. This is maybe something that's connected. It's good that you brought it up and got it out of the goddamn way. You know, I'm really fucking proud of you. You know, I had no idea of it, so the first person I tend to call was Ari, because Ari had gone through all this stuff, and I heard bits and pieces, and I'm so happy. I think he spoke about it on his own podcast, what he had gone to, not in such detail.
Right, yeah, I mean, it's, well, first of all, thank you, and then it's nice. That's why I like, because I had heard Ari speak about it, and I've heard a lot of people speak about it. I feel like right now it's almost kind of cool to have mental health issues in a weird way. Like, I went through a little, not a I don't want to say depression, but like after I spoke about it, I felt bad almost. Like, I was like, I don't know, like this isn't diagnosed. So I felt guilty about using the word depression if it's not.
Well, maybe it isn't. It's like he said, maybe you're not suffering from depression.
Right.
But there's got to be something that's bothering you, something deep.
Right.
Like you said, you keep thinking about your childhood. So, hey, man, listen, I live in 1980, and I'm not ashamed to say that. When I'm not here with you, I'm not with my family, or I'm not writing comedy, and my mind is, when I let idle hands, my mind takes me back into the 80s and all the shit I did, and how can I have done this, and what was the cause to this. And some things, yeah, I put a cause to it, but some things were just because I was a piece of shit. I mean, never get me wrong, you know, something wrong with your mind and you being a piece of shit is two different fucking things.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Some of the things I did was because of need or hurt or pain. Some of the things I did because I was a piece of shit, and there's no two ways to fucking look at it. So, that's where I live. I mean, that's where my head is at. And there's times I go, I'm getting out of there.
Right. Listening to you and Ari made me realize, like, there's obviously certain ways or certain places that I feel comfortable, and maybe that's not good. Maybe just because it feels safe doesn't mean I have to go jump off of a cliff, but maybe I should join one of these places that you can go and work all day, and everyone's working on their own little small business, and there's like little communal tables, or who knows.
There's nothing like that. You have to assume that there's nothing like that.
Okay.
You have to cover these things. You have to keep yourself busy. You have to stay on it. You know who motivates me? Me. Money doesn't motivate me. My daughter doesn't motivate me. Me. Because there was so much wasted time in my life that now I'm just playing fucking catch up, man. I'm just playing fucking catch up. You know, I would hate for any of you 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds or even 40-year-olds that listen to the fucking podcast to ever waste as much time as I did doing drugs and thinking about robbing people and thinking about selling kilos and stupidity. I wish I would have taken that thought into something positive. I'm very sorry that it took me 30 fucking years for a positive thought to come in my mind to make me start comedy and make me stick with it. You know, I sit here fucking amazed that with all the shit I had gone through, I stuck with something. That bothered me, Lee, for years.
That you stuck with it?
Even when I was a fucking kid, my stepfather used to fucking harass me about the shit that I had done. Like, I played the bass, I played the drums, I sang in a band. You know, I went to judo, I went to karate, I went to kung fu, I played football, I played fucking tennis, I swam, you know, I tried everything, I invested money in it, and then I quit. Then guess what happened? Then I quit fucking high school, which I created a horrible fucking pattern. Once I quit high school, that was the fucking pattern that my mind was looking for.
Yeah.
That's the pattern that society wants you to have when you just quit. And then I just would take jobs and quit jobs. I was a plumber, I was a painter, I was a mason, I was an electrician, I was a roofer, I was a framer, I was a carpenter's fucking helper, I laid the linoleum and I laid tile. I was a cook, I was a dishwasher, I sold everything. Name one thing. I even sold the shit that you put in fucking your sanitary tub so your yard don't blow up with shit and piss. What's those things, those pellets that you call? I called everybody in this country, tried to sell one thing or another at one time or another. I was always looking for something better. Always looking for the grass to be green. Always. Oh, my God. I sold neon. I sold medical packages. I mean, I sold it fucking all. I delivered sandwiches. I delivered Chinese food. You know, guys, I sold fucking flooring. I sold tires. Did I ever tell you? I worked in a tire store, and I fucking quit at 1 o'clock. Somebody was saying the other day that they got me. Oh, Darren Johnson came to the comedy show the other day. And he goes, I'll never forget, we were kids, and they got you a job at a shirt company. And you said, I'll be right back. You left an hour in. I wouldn't even wait till lunchtime. I was a fucking loser. I was a fucking loser. And then when the thought of comedy came into my mind, because I quit everything, it took me, what I told you, 18 months to go down there and do comedy, or around that fucking time. It felt like 18 months. And then after I did it, for 2 years, I still dicked around. Like, I'm a comedian. I just need to go on stage once a month. I never committed to shit, guys. Do you understand me? You want to be a real fucking loser, don't commit to nothing. Don't commit to nothing. You got to commit to something. Because eventually that one commitment, now you commit to 2 things. Now you commit to 3 things. I got divorced. Dog, I bailed out on every fucking situation that was ever thrown at me.
Do you think we what I'm coming to hear is like not everything is going to be great all the time? And I don't know, maybe that's what I'm searching for and it just doesn't exist.
I didn't know what I was searching for, Lee, at that fucking time. So
right.
I can't give you the answer to that. All I know is that I quit everything.
Right.
I was a fucking stucco. I installed what's the siding? Did you know that? There was a job I took fucking building scaffolds. I quit at lunchtime too. I used to install railroad ties. I quit that too. Guys, I fucking was a pathetic loser. But for some fucking reason, at the age of 28, I got into comedy. And I didn't commit. I didn't commit to comedy to the age of 31. And that's when I told myself. I said, either I do this. If I quit, there's no more jobs. It's taking a bus back to New York City, getting an ounce of coke, and going into business either until I'm dead, I'm busted, or I'm in jail. Or I kill myself with cocaine. That was the plan. This was not supposed to work, but this was the last thing I had, and I had to commit to it.
That's did you almost not want it to work? Like,
oh, please. Why would I? Why would you? Why would somebody who's a quitter at everything want something to work? Why would somebody who quit everything in their fucking life want something to work? At first I did it, and then when I started doing it, I don't know. I something just made me, I understood what you had to do. But even at that point, I didn't see any future in it. All I was looking at was a little, let's kill a little time. If we could kill some time, we'll be okay.
And it's fun. You have your days free, and you just ended up working at it and liking it. Like it just sort of happened.
I was a con man. I knew that, I'm trying to get my passport. The other day I called a lawyer, and he calls me back an hour later. He goes, hey, what's this warrant in Idaho? Not only do I have a warrant in Seattle, I got a warrant in fucking Idaho because I stole a tent and then I got into a fist fight. It never ended. And even when I got into the comedy and I knew the commitment that comedy needed, I was still fucking around. But it didn't dawn on me till like mid-95. You know when it dawned on me that I was in love with comedy?
When?
When you realize that I was actually getting better at it. Once I was getting 2 or 3 laughs, I'm like, wait a second. I'm onto something.
Were you working on it, or were you just going up there?
At that time, I was reading Judy Carter's workbook, and I would write what she'd do, and then I'd go up there, and I was just learning by doing. I would watch as much stand-up as I could. The greats, Lenny, George Carlin, fucking Richard Pryor, and then I'd look at whoever was hot in those days. and I would try to find the fusion, and that was wrong. You know, it was all. Listen, when you get right now, I'm in love with jiu-jitsu. Do you know why? Because it's like comedy when I first started. I'm so bad at it that I got to get good at it eventually, and I will once the body movements start more and everything, and I will. It's just the way life is. You know what I'm saying? But it also goes to the commitment I put into it. It's the commitment I put into it. You know, right now I'm very fortunate. I'm 54, but I'm living a certain lifestyle. I'm going to bed early. I'm drinking water with all my meals. You know, I never lived like this before because you have a reason to live.
Got it.
And you have a great reason.
Oh, yeah.
You have your mother, you have your father, and you have a sweet girl that would crush her if something happened to you. If you got a heart attack or you got sick. So these are all the things, you know, I stopped doing coke. Yeah, there was the cat and the whole thing. My wife is a lot of fucking things, but she's a sweetheart. And I know how she still cries over Fidel. Like if you bring up Fidel, she'll turn around. You won't see it, but she'll cry a little bit. You can't bring up Fiddy around. These are cats that I can't imagine her finding me on the floor with a mirror and a razor blade in front of me.
Right.
Doing coke. I could never do that to her.
It was when you were talking about when you realized that about your wife, like you said, like, you know, it wasn't like another girl you just had sex with. For me, I don't have I never really went out and did like the hooking up phase, but I also never really had girls care about me. I had a girl who cheated on me, and then I just wouldn't have like long relationships. So yeah, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, you know, that she's so nice.
And I'm not saying, guys, that you need a girlfriend to be happy. It could be a fucking cat.
Yeah.
It could be a bird. It could be a dog. It could be an ant. Listen, there's some happiness out there for you. And I listen, this whole suicide thing and fucking Lee has gotten me a little worked up here, maybe a little bit more than I should, but it's made me realize the problems that I have, the shortcomings I have. Like I told you, a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't doing too good myself. I'm never doing too fucking good. You know, I'm never doing too good because I came from a fucking foundation that nothing good's supposed to happen to guys like me. So when something does good happen, I'm walking around looking at buildings because I want to see the first one to fall on my fucking head.
Who told you good things don't happen to guys like you?
The same things that tell you you're not good enough. The same things.
So it's internal.
Sure it is. Sure it is. You know, it's funny. One time on The Sopranos, Tony Soprano asked the psychologist, so what the fuck are we doing here? What you mean to tell me is that everything goes back to your mother. Everything goes back to that childhood.
Yeah.
Everything goes back to that childhood. I sit here and I make the quotes I have because I've analyzed that childhood 200 times from 0 to 10. And I've analyzed my life 200 times from 10 to 20. You know, bro, there was a time I was going through some heavy shit. And I'll talk about them right now just so you know. The night my mother died, she was yelling for me to come down. I thought it was because she wanted me to eat. And I didn't come down there. But you know what? One night, a week later, when I was smoking pot, I realized she was yelling for me because she was getting a heart attack. And I was too lazy to fucking go down there. That's a heavy fucking thing to live with on your mind. But it's not what I did. I didn't use that as... I've never even spoken about that as something to define me. I put it together that when God wants you, God wants you. What could I have done for her?
Right, and you're, 10 years old, 9 years old?
I was 15.
15, sorry.
You know, it doesn't really fucking matter, but, you know, I could have let that stigmatize me for fucking life, which I did.
Yeah.
Which I did in many ways. Okay, I made little adjustments. When people contact me, I'll try to contact them back. I don't know what position they're in. You know, little things like that, you know. Then there was another problem I had. 2 or 3 years after my mother died, I had this doubt that I'm at a party with Lee. We got an 8-ball of Coke. We got friends here. I'm having a little bit too much of a good time for somebody whose mother just died. Like maybe I didn't love my mother enough like everybody else loves their mother. I went through that phase, Lee.
Yeah,
That was a year of addiction and snorting and tears at 4 a.m. You ever see that scene in Man on Fire when he gets drunk?
Yeah.
And he would get all fucking and talk to himself, and that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Talk to myself and clean your gun, and that's what I did. That's the stupidity I used to do. That 18 months I lived with that I didn't love her enough. Do you know what type of guilt that is to put on a 17-year-old, 18-year-old mind?
It's amazing. Like it's amazing that you made it sounds like depression. It's amazing that you made it. Yeah.
That's why I do all these things. That's why I tell you motherfuckers on Sundays it's gonna be a great week. That's why I tell you motherfuckers that don't worry about what happened last week. Don't matter. Just make sure it don't happen this week. Whatever bad happened last week, just don't make sure it don't happen this week. Just make sure it doesn't happen this week. And there's little precautions you could take to always raise your percentages to make your life a lot better. And you know what? I don't know what they are. You know what the fuck they are. Nobody really wants to face the music because I didn't. All these little things that happened to me from the age of 44, getting the longest yard and Mad TV and all this shit was little things that took over time. First of all, I had to talk myself into being good enough to go to an audition.
That you were good enough, that you deserved it?
Yeah, so we've all had our fucking struggles. It's just how we've handled them. And I'll tell you, I really like that Ari thing about the 5 things that are good in your life every day in the shower, because that's the joke. That I get up in the morning, I hate myself, I drink a cup of coffee, I smoke 2 bongets, I eat a piece of nicotine gum, and next thing you know, I'm fucking Elvis in the shower. That's the truth. When I get in the shower, by the time I get in the shower, why do you think I'm getting in the shower? Because I'm ready to go kill a motherfucker.
Oh. Yeah, and that's... I'd wait to shower till after the gym, probably, usually, so maybe I should change my day up a little bit.
A lot of things are... In my mind, I'm ready to go stab a motherfucker.
Okay. Yeah. I think... Obviously, I think talking to someone would help, but maybe they'd be able to show me some of these things that would help on top of it.
Now, I know in a week, I'm going to ask you, and the Jew in you is not going to make you pay $180 to go talk to somebody. Right. I know. You rather go pay Paula's mother lunch and talk to her in Spanish and try to mingle it out. But, Lee, you have to do these things. It's not about money.
100%.
It's about your mental health, and it's about your future, because it's like Penzo. If you don't pay this now, you're going to have to pay for this later.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that. I wish I had. Like, my mom was 10 years ago, maybe, that she wanted me to go. So now I'm wishing maybe So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, that I should...
Like I said, like Ari said, you're over here stuck with 75-year-old Diaz, and Steve Simone is no fucking barrel of enthusiasm. He has his dark fucking days, too. You have to get a different... you have to go somewhere else beside Paula and tell her, this fucking Joe Diaz guy's crazy. He made me eat 2,000 milligrams last fucking week. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's really weird. You have to go somewhere, and I've seen this, and I've been telling you for a fucking year. Zach always asks about you. Him and Marco and Wakefield, Josiah Wakefield, over at Alberto Crane's, it makes me jealous. I'm not 29. They're young kids. They do stupid things. They go to movies together, and they get a few beers, and they go to some stupid bar down the corner after jiu-jitsu.
Right. And
they goof on each other. Do I miss that? Fuck yeah. Am I lonely at times? Fuck yeah. I'm lonely at times like a motherfucker. But this is all the things that we have to learn to deal with on our own, without the food,
right? Without
the drugs, without the cocaine. These are the things I did, So I'm just happy that you came clean with this.
No, thank you for the last this and the last couple of days. It feels nice. It almost feels like I've started a little bit. I'll call today. I'll find out today what I have.
I don't ever want this. Listen, man. I had situations for this podcast. I always knew what I wanted this podcast to be. I always wanted this podcast to be for me to explain things to you guys by showing you the mistakes I made in my life. That was the number one thing about this podcast, to show you that all these comedians and all these celebrities that you fucking morons look up to, bro, they're pieces of shit. And they got bigger problems than you. They just persevered. You know, they just steamroll through all of them. Half of it, like Ari said, half these actors are in fucking therapy and getting signed. Why did they join Scientologists? They're fucking crazy. They're fucking crazy. Me, I figured out a natural balance. Life is a balance. Life is a nice little fucking balance. You do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that, you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that. You spend time with this guy, you spend time with this guy. When you want to work out, you hang out with this guy. When you want to do drugs, you hang out with this guy. When you want to get your dick sucked, you hang out with this bro. You know, it's just so many different, like I said, we all deal with something.
Yeah.
I know that there's prevention hotline numbers out there. I'm sorry, I was busy this morning. And part of that was to, I had meetings, but I always knew I wanted to do this podcast. And we had a short time with Ari because Ari was going to a concert tonight. We didn't really know. So
I have it if you want it.
What's the number?
1-800-273-8255. And then I'm also looking, they actually have an online chat. So if you want to do that one too.
Guys, you have all the utensils. I'm happy that we could talk about this subject. I wanted to, after Monday, we had a different guest lined up, but we pushed him back just because I wanted Ari to call in and talk about the situation he had gone through and whatnot. Did you do the fucking shout-out for these savages?
Absolutely.
Oh, shit. My man Bobby Lingus, Bud King, Perdeep 007, Mark Non-Smoking Mark, whatever, Corey Smelly, Brian Howard, Couchy 1121, Sleazeball, Jerry D. Brown, and Michael Cesaroni. I love you, cocksucker. And don't forget, this Saturday night, myself, Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo's doing 10 minutes, and the rest of the show is working out with Uncle Joey at the Ice House, 7:30 Saturday night. And then the following week, oh shit, we're back up in SFO, the Punchline bitches, from the 10th to the 12th. That's what I'll be doing. What do you got planned for the weekend, you sexy fucking savage?
What do I have planned? You know what? I don't think I have much, but I'm gonna try to do something different, something that I haven't done before. I don't know what it is. Maybe go. I like one of those clubs or something. Look for something.
What kind of club?
I don't know.
Like a sex club?
That'd be great too. Maybe a sex club. I was even thinking because I got some people who reached out about those tech people that I saw in Vegas.
Okay.
And they have a podcast. So I was thinking about maybe going and seeing maybe they have like a coding club or. Who knows? Just learn a new skill.
I said to the guys, some guy asked you if you got the note at Harris. I'm sitting there for 2 hours last night going, what fucking note? And then I saw you answering back. What happened at Harris?
He was, it was the guy who I met who worked at the casino.
Okay.
And he worked in the gambling department late at night. And he just came over and introduced himself. I was playing Pai Gow, and the dealer was taking me through it. Like, that's why I'm always good at talking at tables. And this dealer, it was like a gay guy. It was midnight. There were like 3 or 4 other people at the table, and we were just having a blast. And he came over, and he said, I love the show. Thank you so much. And then we just came, Paul and I went back the next night. And he was there again. And he gave me a note so we could keep in touch. And it must have fallen out of my pocket at the table. So I wanted him to reach out, and he did. And yeah, there was a bunch of people in Vegas. A server at a restaurant, and that's the last couple of days has shown me. But I've known it since we started. Everywhere I go that I ever meet anybody from this, or it's just it's always very positive. So even if I feel like maybe in my own like personal life I don't have people who I don't think I have people, there's people out there. And maybe for other listeners of the show, because I can't.
Like I said, brother, I'm not looking for fans.
Right.
I'm not looking for people to come up to me and ask me for a fucking autograph.
Right.
I want everybody who listens to this podcast to know we're like a family, man. And you ask guys like Bobby and Crystal, ask guys like fucking Talking Lad, ask them, ask fucking Australian Warrior, Ookie Spooky. Every year, Leon, every year, we get a different fucking family member, Cleo. And somewhere or another, man, this is great because we each, it's tongue and groove. Do you know what tongue and groove is?
No.
We each need what a little bit to have. You know, every Friday I get a note from Bobby Crystal. Bob Lalingus is fucking family. R.I.P. his dad. He was family. I want everybody to know, whether you're in Ireland and fucking China and Hong Kong, you're part of the motherfucking church family, man, and fucked up shit happens. Ask Berg when his kid was sick and he had the church shirt on. He went to a hospital and the guy, we know this. And some people go away because they don't believe this. They don't believe we're family. Listen, man, I had no blood in this world except an uncle and a sister in Cuba. And those guys I grew up with, 54 years later, they're my family. You don't have to be blood to be fucking family. It's feeling for one another. That's it. That's family. That's when you know somebody's family. It's a bigger difference than a friend. There's been things years ago, the kid's house burnt down. We retweeted this fucking GoFundMe and shit happened. Little things like this. Yeah. We're a family. When Talking Leg got sick,
right?
He had the GoFundMe page. We all fucking kicked in. Nobody's a millionaire here, but everything helps. We're a family, guys. So, when I found out that this existed, and I saw how many fucking people reached out to Lee and talked about their own insecurities, I said, fuck it. We got to get Ari to call in and break it down a little more and see if some of all of us meet in the fucking middle here. So thank you very much for listening to the podcast. And never, ever, ever forget this. We're the church family. Fucking balls out. Balls out, man. Be proud. Who gives a fuck? We say what we say and we mean what we mean. And that's just the way the fucking show ends, cocksuckers. Anyway, real quick, let me do some fucking ads and we'll get you the fuck out of here. Number one, On It. Baddest motherfucking supplements out there. I love them to death. You understand me? Love them to death. From the Shroom Tech to the Hemp Force Protein. You want to know what the fuck I use? That's what it is. I love the Hemp Force Protein for breakfast. I get a little Alpha Brain in there when I write comedy just to get all the fucking cylinders going. And remember, if the Alpha Brain don't work for you, it's 100% money back guarantee. No questions asked. We don't even want the bottle back. That's their flagship product. If that's how they treat their flagship product, how the fuck are they going to take care of you as a customer? You understand me? All their products are tremendous. Go to honor.com right now and press in church. Bam! And get 10% off with the package delivered right to your house. It's that type of party, okay? Let me tell you something. I go to jiu-jitsu. I'm a fat fuck. I have these... People give me these fucking jiu-jitsu compression underwears. They suck dick. Because the whole class, I got to pull them down and I got to pick them up. And I'll tell you what. You know what works for me for jiu-jitsu? I'll tell you right now. MeUndies. Number one, they fucking snug onto your skin so the gi pants snug onto them and your gi pants don't go anywhere. Number two, you go to jiu-jitsu, you're sweating, your fucking muffler's sweating up a storm. Not with MeUndies. MeUndies has that Modal. It controls the sweat. It keeps it nice and fucking dry in there. And this is the reason why I wear MeUndies whenever the fuck I work out or whatever the hell I'm doing, because of control, comfort, and it keeps everything, the smelly poo, you know what I'm saying, under control. Like I said, MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear, period. And summer is the perfect time to upgrade your underwear drawer, because everybody's out there thinking about looking good and feeling good, and MeUndies are the ultimate feel-good undies. Every pair of MeUndies is sustainably sourced and made from micro modal, a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. What do you think I'm talking about here? If you're used to buying boring underwear, MeUndies will change that. Because MeUndies comes in all kinds of colors and patterns, and they release new limited edition patterns each month that always sell out. Sometimes I wear a white gi and I wear polka dot underwear and people laugh at me, but who the hell cares? My balls are fresh. This month's patterns were designed by the legendary 80s clothing brand Cross Couleurs, with names that live up to their bold design and bright colors. Increase the piece, you dig, and the OG. You got to see them for yourself. And right now, you'll save 20% off your first pair, and you'll receive free shipping only at MeUndies.com/Joey. There's a reason MeUndies is sold over 5 million pairs to date. You know why? Because you'll feel it when you put them on. And if you don't love the first pair, listen, they're free. Bing, bang, boom. That's the way we do it. Now, today, get 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/Joey. Again, that's MeUndies.com/Joey. 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping. You can't lose. Listen, you're going to have the best smelling balls around. You're going to be comfortable. It's going to look great with pants on. You're going to tweet me a year from now and go, Joey, I love my MeUndies. Again, MeUndies.com/Joey. And that's it. And that's that, brother. What's the matter with you?
Nothing.
You're going to cry already on me.
No.
Anyway, I love you motherfuckers. If I don't see you Saturday at the Ice House, I'll see you the following week in San Francisco. Let's blast a whole lot of love for the family, brother. Thank you for listening to the church, guys. And thank you for participating in our lives. And thank you for supporting us. Stay black. Have a great weekend.